shadows in the silence. The banners of peace fluttered in artificial gravity, projected in holographic brilliance across the grand rotunda of Unity Station. The symbol of a new alliance, two hands, one human, one Zorvani, locked in a symmetrical clasp, spun slowly above the delegates. Applause echoed through the chamber as Ambassador Elena Merrick stepped forward to sign the treaty that would end a decade of war. Cameras from 100 systems beamed the image across the stars. On paper, it was a moment of celebration, of relief. Billions on Earth and the core world cheered, hoping their sons and daughters would no longer return in caskets or not at all. But Captain David Rourke wasn't smiling. He watched from the bridge of the HMS Resolute, orbiting Unity Station. A veteran of the Bloodline skirmish, the Pyrrhus Offensive, and the siege of Delta Emer, Rourke had seen peace offers before, almost always preludes to betrayal. He turned to his second, Lieutenant Kailash Singh, arms folded. "Tell me, Lieutenant," he muttered, "why would a species that had us on the ropes suddenly offer peace?" Singh frowned, her gaze on the feed. "Guilt? Fatigue? Diplomacy? They don't do guilt," Rourke replied flatly. "And fatigue? We've lost more ships than we've built in 2 years. We were bleeding. We should have been finished." He didn't say the last part out loud. We didn't win this war. We just stopped losing fast enough. 6 months earlier, the ceasefire. The ceasefire had come like a whisper on a battlefield. After humanity's last-ditch use of an illegal EMP graviton burst that temporarily blinded the Zorvani Armada at Aquili Prime, the alien diplomats reached out with white flags, or whatever the crystalline Zorvani used to signal truce. Humanity was stunned. The Zorvani Dominion had overwhelmed 3 other civilizations in less than 2 decades. Their ships, a blend of organic alloys and living AI symbiotes, were nightmares of fluid motion and brutal efficiency. And yet, here they were, offering a treaty. Many in the Terran High Council took the offer at face value, eager to end the bloodshed. But not everyone. The Intelligence Directorate never disarmed. Colonel Joe Chun, Director of Special Operations, pushed a silent initiative, Project Vigilant. And Captain Rourke, having seen the pattern before, volunteered for the quiet side of peacekeeping. Suspicion in silence. Rourke tapped his console and opened the secured feed. A sequence of routine logs flowed across the screen. Transport manifests, patrol reports, border traffic. "Too clean," he muttered. "Sir," Singh asked, "these manifests are too neat. The Zorvani aren't like us. Their logistics are messy, organic, and now it looks like a spreadsheet written by a bored intern." He leaned in, zooming on a cluster of entries. 12 transports marked as biomaterial return shipments, all within 3 days from sectors that had been decommissioned. "Singh, give me a data pulse from the Argus node." Her eyes widened. "That's Black Archive, sir." "I know. Do it." A few minutes later, the feed lit up. A glowing interface of lines and connections. An AI intelligence network codenamed Argus, originally designed for synthetic warfare scenarios. Now it watched for patterns lies. Argus pulsed. A single word floated on the screen: convergence. Colonel Chin was right, Rourke said grimly. They're moving in formation, not shipping biogarbage. They're staging. The meeting behind closed doors. Within the inner sanctum of the Terran Diplomatic Council, Ambassador Merrick stood with Colonel Chun and Rourke. The room was soundproofed, shielded, and deep below Geneva headquarters. "You have proof?" Merrick asked, voice cold. Rourke slid a tablet across the table. Argus flagged it. Pattern matches Zorvani pre-assault logistics before the fall of Orlith Prime. Chen added, Sigma, 9 colony went silent yesterday. We lost contact with the entire moon. No distress signals. No power spikes. Just blackout. Sigma, 9 was demilitarized, Merrick whispered. Per treaty agreement, Chen said, which we signed, knowing full well we'd be stabbed in the back. Merrick looked up, steel in her gaze. What's the council's stance? Chen hesitated. They still believe in the treaty. Then we don't tell them, she said. Not until we have undeniable proof. Rourke raised an eyebrow. What's more undeniable than a ghost colony? We'll need visuals, Merrick said. If we accuse the Zorvani without direct evidence, it'll look like human aggression, and they'll use that to justify open war. Understood, Rourke said. I'll take the Resolute. Sigma 9, silence confirmed. The HMS Resolute dropped out of FTL in the Sigma 9 system. What greeted them was not silence. It was a graveyard. The moon below, once host to 40,000 civilians, was charred black. Atmospheric compression fractures, impact craters, orbital debris fields spiraling in lazy arcs. Singh's voice cracked. No life signs. No atmosphere. No survivors. Record everything, Rourke ordered. The worst was yet to come. As they scanned the area, cloaked signals emerged, displacement trails, likely Zorvani in origin, fading fast. But one, a residual echo, suggested a battlecruiser. Not a pirate, not a rogue element. Get this to Chun, Rourke said, rage boiling beneath his voice. Now! Back on Earth, the alert. Merrick stood once more before the cameras, but this time in a secure underground facility. She spoke to a private feed shared only with world leaders and trusted military advisors. This footage was taken 6 hours ago above Sigma 9. We believe the Zorvani have violated the treaty. This is not an isolated incident. We suspect a coordinated plan. The silence in the room was suffocating. Colonel Chen stepped forward. Project Vigilant is active. We've maintained 60% of our fleet in shadow reserves. Stealth satellites, cloaked shipyards, hidden war vaults. We are not unarmed. Merrick looked to them all. We hoped peace was possible, but hope is not a strategy. And the treaty, Rourke's voice came over the comms, patched in from orbit, was a lie. Chapter close. The spark reignites. As the Terran fleet began silent mobilization across the stars, the Zorvani began to move too. In a dark chamber aboard the Zorvani High Command Spire, High Strategist Velras watched humanity's response unfold. They've uncovered the ruse, a lieutenant reported. They're mobilizing. Velras didn't blink. Let them. Their pride will make them bold. But we've studied their war, their flaws, their weaknesses. And if we're wrong, the lieutenant asked. Velras finally turned, his many-eyed face unreadable. Then we face the one species that refuses to die quietly. The lie unfolds. The silence of deep space was shattered by the dull thrum of awakening engines. Across forgotten star systems, cloaked Terran battlecruisers, once hidden in asteroid fields and ancient ship graveyards, began to stir. Their hulls bore no insignia, only matte black armor and weapon ports pulsing with renewed life. The Zorvani thought they had disarmed humanity. They were wrong. Operation Broken Truce. In the command center buried beneath Geneva Station, Colonel Joe Chun stood before a sprawling tactical display outlining Operation Broken Truce. Strike teams are go for infiltration on Zorvani forward stations. We believe they're staging fleets near at least 4 former conflict zones. Recon probes have confirmed warfleet configurations, specifically planetary suppression ships. Captain David Rourke stood beside him, arms crossed. They're preparing to burn us down, one colony at a time. Ambassador Merrick, now stripped of her diplomatic mask, leaned in. What's our response? Chen didn't hesitate. We hit first. Surgical strikes. Cut supply lines. Cripple their coordination. She glanced at Rourke. We need to move before the rest of the galaxy decides we're warmongers again. Rourke nodded. I want the Resolute for the first hit. Let the Zorvani know, this time we're not playing defense. Zorvani command, arrogance, and strategy. High Strategist Velras reviewed the attack on Sigma 9 with measured calm. The humans did not respond as expected, his adjutant noted. They didn't protest. They prepared, Velras murmured. The Zorvani believed themselves apex predators, technologically superior, militarily dominant, biologically evolved to absorb conquered species traits. But humans were different. They didn't submit. They adapted. Still, Velras held no fear. Our simulations project 72% planetary collapse rate within first cycle of engagements, the adjutant added. Those simulations assume they follow logic, Velras said. But humans don't operate on logic alone. The first counterstrike. The Resolute dropped out of FTL near the edge of a Landra belt, where a secret Zorvani supply convoy had been rerouted under treaty cover. 3 cloaked Terran corvettes flanked the cruiser, each bristling with javelin torpedoes and EM scramblers. Targets acquired, Singh confirmed. 4 freighters, 2 escorts. No warning, Rourke ordered. Drop the veil. Fire at will. The attack lasted only 67 seconds. The Zorvani convoy never even got a distress signal out. A message to the stars. Later that evening, Ambassador Merrick stepped in front of the camera, not to conceal, but to reveal. The broadcast went out on an open band, accessible to all known species. Behind her, footage played in haunting silence. Sigma 9's obliteration. Cloaked Zorvani ships. Human rescue teams finding nothing but ash. She spoke calmly, but with iron in her voice. The Zorvani Dominion promised peace. Instead, they gave us silence, burned colonies, vanished citizens, broken promises. Her gaze bored into the lens. Humanity accepted the treaty in good faith. But we never forgot history. We remembered what they did to the Talari, to the Vexen, to the Orlithai. And we knew, deep down, we would be next. She paused. But we were not idle. We were not blind. We were not weak. She stepped aside, and the final footage played. The Resolute strike on the Zorvani convoy. This was our answer. Across the stars, dozens of neutral species watched in stunned silence. The humans weren't just surviving. They were fighting back with precision, planning, and fury. Velras watches. Velras watched the broadcast from the Warspire. Bold, one of his tacticians said. They've made their intent clear. More than that, Velras said softly. They've declared purpose. That's more dangerous than intent. The room fell quiet. They're no longer simply trying to endure, he continued. They're trying to win. He tapped a clawed finger on the projection of Earth. Prepare contingency, wave, Omega. The Terrans won't stop. We must strike at their spine. Reinforcements and revelations. Back on Earth, Colonel Chin's data network lit up with dozens of new messages. Species previously silent or cowed by the Zorvani began sending encrypted transmissions. The Vexen remnants offered schematics of Zorvani command vessels. A Talari refugee fleet requested alliance and provided locations of hidden Zorvani fuel nodes. Even the shadowy Mythelians, long assumed extinct, sent word. We remember your defense. We owe you blood. Humanity's gamble, exposing the lie, had worked. Now the galaxy stirred. Rourke's gambit. On board the Resolute, Captain Rourke reviewed a new plan. Not a defensive campaign, an offensive one. We hit their communications nexus, he said to Singh and the bridge crew. The one they think we don't know about. Zorvani Core, Node Alpha? Singh asked, blinking. That's suicide. Rourke smiled. That's why they won't see it coming. Final scene, the jump. The Resolute, now joined by the elite Nightcloak squadron, entered jump formation. The mission, penetrate deep into Zorvani space and destroy Node Alpha, the AI-driven relay nexus coordinating their entire front. As the stars twisted and the engines roared, Rourke gave one final order. No mercy, no messages, no more pretending. The ship vanished into the darkness of hyperspace, a dagger aimed at the heart of a traitorous empire. Final line. They wanted peace on their terms. Now they'll get war on ours.